A very good morning to you all, and welcome to Views, People and News here on 93.3 KFM. This Saturday, the 10th of August, 2024. My name is Judith Atim. I am your host. And today, we are talking about the good, the bad, and fears for MP's regional sessions. I am really excited to have two wonderful guests, Honorable Reverend Father Charles Onen, the Member of Parliament for Laro, Peja Division, Gulu City. Father, you're most welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, dear listener, and my colleague here in the studio, and your moderator, team.
Thank you. Henry Muguzi, Executive Director, Alliance for Finance Monitoring. Henry, good to have you once again.
Yeah, thank you, Judith. It's always a pleasure for me to be here, and good morning, our listeners.
Well, so the last week or so, the conversation in the discourse in both social media and our traditional media platforms has been the planned regional sittings by Parliament. Well, Parliament is set to hold these sittings from the 28th of August, but this is a decision that the matter was first raised in Parliament in 2021 as the 10th Parliament was winding up business. So the 11th Parliament basically picked up from where the 10th Parliament stopped. We're told the regional Parliament sittings will cost the taxpayer about 20 billion shillings, 5 billion per region. That would translate to about $5.34 million. Parliament says these sittings will give MPs an opportunity to witness firsthand the challenges affecting common Ugandans. But Ugandan taxpayers are not seeing the value for money in this. And I am actually happy. Well, the first sittings will be held in Gulu City, my city, in the north. And the MPs have actually put up a spirited fight to say, look, we need this sitting to take place. And Honorable Father, I want to know what your justification is as MPs. And also, I'd like you to take us through how these meetings are going to be structured. How many MPs are going? Are you taking the whole house? What do the logistical arrangements look like in terms of transportation, accommodation, and so on? Before we go into impact, which we would like you to also unpack the meaning of that word.
Well, thank you, Tim, and you, the listener, once again. You know, the Speaker of the House is like a driver or a pilot of a plane. The Right Honorable Anita Mo has a legislative agenda and vision for the 11th Parliament, which she's heading. And before then, Jacob Olanya announced that he would want the 11th Parliament to be a people-centered parliament. Death did not give him time to explain that or to showcase what he meant by the People's Parliament. And we know, and you have quoted correctly, that even before the Right Honorable Speaker then, Kadaga, Honorable Kadaga, it also hinted on that. So Anita is now fulfilling the vision and the dreams of the previous speakers of Parliament. Well, we are now talking about, the focus is now Gulu. People are not talking about Masaka. People are not talking about Barara. No one has mentioned about that.
Because Gulu is where the sittings are starting.
The first sitting is going to take place. And we're asking ourselves, why Gulu? Why is this hatred for Gulu? People are not mentioning Barara.
No. But do you think if Barara was sitting first or Masaka was the first?
I don't know whether that would have also why? And there is, I don't know why the Speaker chose that Gulu should be the first, maybe on alphabetical order. I don't know. I cannot explain. But what I can say, I'm not part of the planning team. I'm also a member of Parliament, and I'm also happy that the Parliament is going to sit, in my city on that day, on the 28th to the 29th, 28th to the 30th. I'm so happy. Why? Because right now, as we talk, right from May, actually, let me say from May, when the Speaker announced, before she made that communication, the public communication, Parliament had really done, the groundwork. The Speaker, I believe, might have made enough consultation. She consulted the executive, the president, and I believe the president is in agreement. On the day of on the day when president made the State of the Nation address, the speaker again, re-echoed the same. On the day of the budget, the speaker again, re-echoed that Parliament would have regional sitting. So the regional sitting of Parliament, I think, this is a common practice of the Commonwealth Parliament. Dar es Salaam, rather Tanzania, they've held several regional sittings in their country. There's a regional sitting in Dodoma, what else, and other places, even Dar es Salaam, and among other places. So it is surprising, could be, to this nation that, yes, this is going to be happen. And when something is going to happen for the first time, people tend to have a lot of fear. People tend to have a lot of exaggeration. I know you have something to tell.
No, it's okay. You first respond.
Yes.
Yeah.
Some people have a lot of fear because they have never had any experience, but they will appreciate later. What I know now, the general public, that even if the image that the people want to paint and the speaker and Parliament, that even if the speaker and it among lay ourselves on the at the entrance of Parliament for people to walk in and deliver their whatever, no one will ever appreciate. They would still complain that she was not flat enough. And at this time, I want to say that northern Uganda, the greater north, from Teso, Karamoja, Lance Sub-region, the West Nile, we are underprivileged. Can you imagine, for the first time, it was just yesterday that the president launched the first electricity, the national grid, the electricity to go to West Nile. And one minister one time said, how much do you contribute to the national GDP that you need now, electricity in your area? You were the president, the old president, and you never demanded for electricity. You can imagine a minister talking like that.
Well, Father,
now
you gave an example of Tanzania holding regional sittings. Why we are curious, our district halls or city halls don't have capacity, first of all, to accommodate these numbers. Tanzania has those provisions. They have regional parliaments in all those places where the entire legislative bodies representatives can sit. We don't have that in Uganda.
We have had sittings at Kololo. Kololo does not have what? Those kind of.
So you're going to sit at Kaunda grounds in Gulu?
Just like at Kololo. Just like at Kololo. And what I want to tell you, that already rehabilitation of Kololo, of Kaunda grounds, it is ongoing. And a number of consultations have been made to different stakeholders within the city of Gulu, and not only Gulu city, even Lira, West Nile, and Moroto, different sectorial committees.
So just take us through.
It's actually an opportunity for every member of Parliament to take advantage of that. Every political party to take advantage of that if they need actually to demonstrate or to show that government has not done enough for northern Uganda. This is an opportunity. We have been talking about regional imbalances. How shall we, as members of Parliament, appreciate things which are happening in other regions if we don't want? Because I believe there are members of Parliament who have never crossed northern Uganda and they will be going there for the first time.
But we don't have to fund them. But how much doesn't have to fund their movement.
Even our sitting here, even the movement of the committees, we have traveled. Members of Parliament have traveled abroad. We have traveled to South Africa, USA, Canada, among other places. Several committee members. Do you know how much a member of Parliament spends whenever he goes out? About 720 US dollars. That is when a member travels outside per day. Now,
so when you're traveling internally,
it is only 400,000. 400,000. That's per diem. Now, that travel itself, the travel should not actually worry Uganda that we are going to spend. And actually, the leader of opposition only actually overblew the actual figure. This figure was included in the budget. The budget which has just been passed. It was in the budget. Only the unfortunate part is that most members of Parliament, they don't read the budget. So you're saying it is not 5 billion? Not 5 billion. Not 5 billion. It is about 2.3 billion. About 2.3 billion. About 2.3 billion. That is per the sitting. Believe me, I believe the auditors are there. They will audit the activity of this national parliament, and then we said, yes, you wasted all this much.
Okay.
But now, before shooting down the good intention, we need to accept that, yes, let this happen, and then we see whether there will be an impact to the commoners, to the people of the regions where the
sittings will take place. Take me through the logistics. How are you people planning to travel? Private cars or costas or?
Well, members of parliament are given fuel. We normally receive fuel, and we are expected to use that money, the fuel money, to travel. But I believe parliament also has got buses which can also be used for the travel, and especially the support staff, and then the support staff, and what else? And some members of parliament who may not be able to drive their cars, say from Isingiro to Kampala, then to Gulu. It will be a little bit expensive. So there will be that opportunity.
But still, we see more than 500 vehicles traveling, because you're just going to travel as an MP alone. You maybe have your assistants to also come with you?
Assistants?
Or it's just one MP?
No.
You have your MP and your driver.
An MP, if say I have an assistant, it is not parliament to pay. I pay my PA. And actually, for me, I don't have anyone. I don't have even a driver. I don't have my PA. I am just...
It's you. You fly solo.
Yes, that is...
Still a young man.
He's a priest. He's his father. So priesthood teaches them to be egalitarian. You don't need to depend on people to take care of you. Yes.
Yes. Now there's an issue which we need to also know. At the moment, President had announced that we need a specialized hospital to be built in northern Uganda. Up to now, this issue is dragging, and there are those who think it is not necessary for a specialized hospital to be built in northern Uganda. It was also on the news when actually last year. We have the Regional Cancer Institute. It is only the first phase which has been one, and up to now,
the one in Omoro.
Nobody is talking about, and it is on record yearly. We have 10,898 new cases which are being reported in the Greater North. But
couldn't the health committee, for example?
Now the health committee is going there for the first time, and they will be on the 13th next week. For the first time, they are going to what? They are going to visit that oncology center.
Is that part of the 2.3 billion budget? It's a separate budget.
It's a separate budget. So we need that debate. How shall we help the people in the Greater North to come out of poverty, to come out of the many killer diseases which are claiming? We have the issue of the cases of nodding children. Nodding children, whenever this issue is brought on the table, brought for discussion, nobody's willing to talk about. We need members of parliament. First of all,
are you going to visit those areas
already the speaker made members of parliament from the Greater North that they should bring highlight issues which should have to be addressed, and the different sectorial committees to visit those areas and then come with what? So that when we shall be debating, it will be from the informed point of view. People are going to visit the northern children in Pade, in Laos sub-region, those in Kitgum, those in Lamor. So that we'll look at their conditions actually. And I'm happy that the president himself has also accepted that he will be there. At Kololo, the speaker invited the president, and the president said, I will be there. And I believe on the 29th or 28th, the president will be there to launch this regional sitting. The president is in agreement of this. So we should not actually prejudice that, yes, there's going to be too much spending. There will always, and there's always been what? Overspending. How much does our soldiers abroad spend whenever on without the international missions? Those in Somalia, those in Congo, so much billions are being still spent by that.
Thank you, Father. You've given us a quite an interesting overview of a lot of things. I still have a lot of questions, but let me open the mic to Henry here.
Yeah, thank you very much. So, I want to start like this. That you see Parliament, we've been told by the books of political science that Parliament is an organ of people's sovereignty. Mm-hmm. And the reason it's an organ of people's sovereignty is that it represents the will of the people. It is elected by citizens to make decisions on their behalf. Okay? It also provides a platform for citizens voices to be heard. All right? And this being heard comes through voices of the representatives. Now, on that house, where we have 537, what's the number, Father?
529 sometimes.
Is it 537?
528?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We are getting into the fourth year. There are men and women who we last heard their voices when they were swearing in. But that said, if you look at the survey released recently by Afrobarometer, 85 to 86% of the respondents said that those men and women in parliament do not represent our interests. The things they speak about, the things they spend time on, are the opposite of what we want. Now, how I wish that if it comes to the regional sitting, and I don't want to look at the monies because we spend on parliament how much a day? 2.7 billion a day?
A day, yeah.
So I don't want to look into the monies. I'm just praying that when we go to the northern, we take all the northern MPs and that we pitch up a huge tent in the Boma grounds and invite the voters to come and see. And there is something about the timing of this and the impact I'll speak about, so that they can see their listening posts, these men and women who have never said, in my own Masaka city, how we are waiting eagerly to see those men and women who have never uttered a word as we head into the next election, even when we had to censure people that have stolen, illicitly awarded themselves monies they could not sign. So we are anxiously waiting. Now, there is the issue about the timing of this. Because how many by August next year we will be nominating, August or September, nominating MPs, members, candidates for member of parliament, isn't it?
For 2026.
For 2026.
The roadmap is out.
Yeah, by August, normally around August, mid-August, there we would have nominated you people if you want to contest.
We're having EC in the next hour, so
now
it will give us a better picture.
This is the opportune moment for you, the voters, to determine whether I want to return these listening posts to parliament to waste our money. So people should be able to gather and see these men and women many of them who have never even yawned on the floor of parliament. Now, when you are looking for impact,
you need to know why are some members of parliament never yawned on the floor of parliament, given and
we call them Hallelujah Boys.
The Hallelujah Boys, they are there. Hallelujah Boys are everywhere, even among the Kasita people.
Aye, when they're voting, aye, that's all they know.
So we are trying to revive the rules of parliament to give 7 minutes for each member of parliament. We are reviving the rules as for now.
Every plenary sitting.
Every plenary sitting. 7
minutes.
7 minutes per each member. Because why are we doing this? We want members of parliament to do enough research before they come on the floor of parliament to talk. And that's why there's always hallelujah, amen, hallelujah, amen. Why hallelujah, amen? Because even people are too many. And we want this, the new chambers to be expeditiously finished, so that members can be we can appreciate now that yes, we can add more time, say from morning hours, either morning hours to afternoon, instead of the 2-3 hours afternoon sitting.
Yeah, so that would be the impact. So after the people have looked at what they sent to parliament, and Ugandans, for listeners out there, you have been in the business of sending community leaders to parliament because someone has done well on the community, is providing social services, is barring well, is checking on the sick. A community leader, you send them to parliament. And how I wish we can also start the discussion that is going on with the teachers, so that only those that have degrees go there. Mm-hmm. So parliament has to be a place for creme de la creme. People that can articulate, can critique, analyze issues, and break them down, understand policy analysis. So we need now, this is an opportunity for us to determine, do we need to return these? That will be an opportunity. But I think let's look into the budget. I think the intention is good. I don't know whether the plot, whether the MPs are seeing the plot, but many of them are going to lose this election on the basis of what the people are going to see, because you can come to Kampala and hide there. Now you come to Gulu, come to Masaka, come to Mbarara. We'll get there, and then we'll get to see. Even the ideas you get to discuss. How I wish you...
So already you're supporting the move that Parliament...
Absolutely. Because you see, Parliament is an organ of people's sovereignty. You must... And by the way, you see now the Speaker is trying... It is also a wake-up call. Because many of you get there and forget that you are... I have just read it. You represent the voices of the people. You are supposed to articulate them, project those voices. But many of them, even when you go to your constituencies, you come at night, you sneak in and sneak out.
I think that is the reason why President Museveni wants to appear. When
you are in Parliament, you're talking
so that he could actually.
You are talking trips. You have just told us you earn what $720. That is in excess of $2 million. One day, this man you sent to Parliament, you the voters, he goes for trips, and these are endless. He's getting $720 per day. Per diem. He's there for 10 days. That is 7,000. You don't have. You cannot pay teachers. You can't pay teachers. Your bridges can't be fixed. You don't have nothing. These are the people sent to Parliament. So I think let them come until we are able to. And we need to rise, citizens and voters. We need to rise and understand what did we send and learn lessons. We cannot be repeating the same mistakes all the time, because we the voters have committed enough mistakes in the past and sent the wrong people to Parliament, and the Speaker is saying, let me bring them to you, you be the judge, so that as you head into the next election, you know what to do.
Thank you. You know, bad leaders are elected by those who do not vote, and those who should actually vote, they don't have even the national IDs. Even when time comes for them to go and verify whether their names are there on the voters register, they don't. But they're always talking, they're always criticizing. How do those bad leaders manage to escape the good intention of the voters? I believe they were elected by those who were never serious. And the time is now. Let those leaders go back to their to their regions. And that would be the moment for the voters to see, yes, today we are seeing you, Florence. We are seeing your team. We are seeing you, Onan, for the first time. We have never heard you on the floor of Parliament. We want to see whether you will articulate now our issues which are here on the what? On the.
So we have sent you to Parliament to hold the executive accountable. Instead, it is the executive holding you accountable. You've turned the tables of accountability, and you defeated the very purpose why we sent you there. So, Speaker, thank you very much, Madam Anita Among, for bringing them. We will see them and take a decision.
You know, he who has powder will always wins the war. The one with the powder. And you see, the president has all the 340 members of Parliament. That is on the NRM ticket. We have only 42, about 50-something, the opposition. So that's why I'm saying he who has powder wins the war. And these people, they caucus. The opposition, they don't have time even to caucus. They're always shocked to hear what? And among the opposition, there are those who are really on the what? They're dealing, they will kind of what? They're in the movement, they're in this and that. They're not serious.
But also...
They only talk just to be heard. So, the issue is, let's go back to the issue on the table, the regional setting. Why is it members of, the general public is up with arms to what? Against the decision of the Speaker, the decision of Parliament. Let's first wait, we see whether this is a good move or it was a bad move, because it may unfold itself in the next Parliament. So it will be incumbent of the citizens of this country to say, last time in the 11th Parliament, you people spent so much. We don't want this again to happen. We will have learned a lesson from this regional setting.
Okay, Father. Let's hold that thought. Let's return after the break and pick up this conversation from there. This is VPN. That's right. This is VPN, and welcome back from the break. We're still discussing the good, the bad, and fearful MPs regional sessions, which are kicking off end of this month, starting with Gulu. Once again, let me introduce to you my guests, Honorable Reverend Father Charles Onen, the Member of Parliament for Laro, Peja Division, Gulu City. Henry Muguzi, the Executive Director, Alliance for Financial Monitoring, Well, we are still looking at the rationale for these regional sittings, and during the commercial break, Father, we were still talking about the logistics, and I think Henry had not yet understood that all the 528 members are actually supposed to be heading there, right? Minus clerks. We're not counting clerks. We're not counting the other parliament staff that have to also be part of this sittings. You're saying, well, the budget is low, it's 2.3 billion, but we're asking, how is this really benefiting people? But also, my concern is also the security issue. If you're with 528 lawmakers, and God forbid something happens to you on the way, what arrangements have been made to actually ensure your safety and security, health concerns along the way, or what is it? Are these things that have been well thought out? And should there be, because contingencies have to be made. If things go south, for example, how does this affect the country?
Well, thank you, Tim. We normally call you a Tim Abakato.
I love that.
On the issue of security, I think the president had given, it consented to this when he was consulted. And the president would be there to launch the regional sitting. The security, the government is going to take full responsibility on the issue pertaining, because where the president is, there's always enough and good security. On the issue of risk, life is a risk. But
it has to be calculated and measured.
Whether calculated risk or not, life is actually a risk. And a life without risk is not worth living.
Not when it involves our governance.
Well, if it is a reckless kind of move, then you could say it is not worth undertaking that. But what I want to say, this what we are talking about, Parliament is going to spend, it is there in the budget. We budgeted for this, and nobody objected this on the budget. Therefore, why do you now come to say, why do such members of Parliament now come to say, yes, it is a waste of taxpayers' money? Yet when it was on the budget, you did not actually say it was going to be a waste of taxpayers' money.
Henry, I would want you to comment on how our budget was actually handled this time around, because we all know the confusion that came with the budget.
Even when the president brought this issue back, they brought the budget back to Parliament for what? The consideration. Yeah, for reconsideration. Those other members would have actually raised, complaint or concern over the same. But nobody talked about it, which means we were all in agreement on what...
I think the day, I don't know if it was the day the Core agenda was brought in, I was following the procession on TV, and I remember Honorable Sechikubo actually standing and putting an objection and saying, look, we don't understand some of the provisions and these budget lines where they're coming from, and we are being forced to actually vote. I don't remember the actual words, but I think I could still go back and retrace that footage. And he did raise, because the process, it didn't seem to be fair, and it didn't seem like most of the MPs were actually understanding what was being discussed.
Well, it is true that the Core agenda came like 3 hours. 3 hours was uploaded 3 hours to the plenary time, to the time for the plenary. I remember on that day we had to delay for the Core agenda to be uploaded before we could go for the plenary sitting. Yes, given that fact, nobody actually questioned that money which was actually put on the parliamentary activities. That money was on the parliamentary activities. It was budgeted. It was not on the what? It was not on the Core agenda. It was on our parliamentary what? Was brought by the commission. By the commission. Now, the leader of opposition who sits in the committee, on the committee of commission, comes to say, I was not consulted. There was no enough consultation. Does he want to say, yes, now you general public, now decide for me, or you decide for yourself? He is a member of the commission, and the commission are the ones who actually ran the one. But
he says he was not involved or invited.
What happened?
Decisions are made without him being involved.
You see. And now by coming with that kind of statement, he's coming actually to demonstrate that he is up for what? He is fighting a institutional war. And in the institutional war, you cannot bring institutional war with, cannot mix institutional war with, constitutional war mandate of a legislature. And that one, to me, it was actually wrong. Wrong of him. Why do you think he was being omitted from the discussion of the commission? And he never raised that on the floor of Parliament, that I'm being omitted. For how many times has he been omitted from the what? From the commission sitting? The commission sits actually like frequently, like after every 2 or 1 week, 2 weeks. For how many times has she been omitted from this?
Hey.
And he's receiving also money for what? Not attending a commission meeting.
Is he?
Yes. A commissioner receives about 6.3 million.
Whether they've sat or not.
Whether they sat 6.3 million honoria. So which means he has been receiving 6.3 million without even raising complaint. Why are you people paying me? I have not been attending. You have not been including me on the meeting. Why was he receiving this money? 6.3 million. Now 6.3 times 12. How much is that one in a month?
Henry, let's hear from you.
So when you hear Father Onen speak, and just like the rest of the MPs, the kind of misuse of resources of public funds that goes on in Parliament. And look at the budget. I want to approach this on two ways. There's one side of the cost, and the other side of what could have come out of it. So I am struggling to understand what the breakdown of the 5 billion per region sitting is going to be. Earlier on, he was saying that each MP will get
400,000 per day. That's per diem.
And if I multiply that by 528, and multiply that again by 3, so I think it's about 700 million. So what is the rest of the 4.3 billion doing? I don't understand.
No, he said it's 2.3. He's told us it's 2.3, not 5. Not 5 billion.
It's 2.3. Okay.
But still,
if it is 2.3
minus 700 million.
Yeah. So you have another billion.
1.something billion.
1.3 billion. Remember, the security which will be there have to be what? To be fed. What else? The support staff have to also to be fed. There are service providers. Let me generalize. There are service providers which are going to be what? To be paid. Like those who are going to serve food.
Serve food and supply, except if you're going to be served the food on a golden plate.
No, not golden plate. We are going to have local catering team.
At 10,000 gulu, you'll get good food.
Even 5,000.
Okay, 10,000. You are honorables. You 10,000 anyway. So the point I'm trying to make is that you members of Parliament, we have seen you all the time. Living in splendor and opulence. And so the way you do not respect, taxpayers' money and the grid with which you utilize it becomes amazing, which is why then I am tempted to think that this is likely to be another money machine project. Money machine projects are those projects that you people in power create to look as if they are relevant when actually the driving reason for why you are doing this is so that you can get more cash in your wallet. If you look at what the reason is being given, on the surface it looks fine, because it's okay to take Parliament to the people, because Parliament has for the longest time been very far away from the people. People do not actually understand how some of you look after you've been voted when you are sitting the way you sit and constitute yourselves into a Parliament. That would be a good one. But it would only have been served the purpose if we are going to stay in the region much longer, so that every MP is given as much time so that the citizens can see what kind of views these fellows have to offer. But if you are going to go the entire Parliament, 557 and 37, and you're going to stay in this region for just 3 days, that is a political money-making project.
Wow. Well, let me correct something. You made some quotation where I said there is always 400,000 per diem.
Yeah.
That is when members of parliament are going out for, say, committee work.
So today, now you're
this one is now the normal sitting. It will be the normal sitting of parliament. And there is nothing like pay for what? For work outside parliament. It is still work within what? Within parliament.
So what is the 2.3 billion for?
The 3 point, I'm not the accounting officer of the of parliament.
Don't you find that outrageous?
I'm not the accounting officer. Maybe they calculated and said, yes, we need this budget, this amount of money for this regional.
You are the same parliament that has purchased the most expensive vehicles for your speakers. You are the very parliament that awards it. First of all, you are in control of your own emolument. You decide what will be paid. Now
it is within the constitution.
You put your per diem going abroad at $720 per day, and you determine how many days you are going to go there. Even if you go for a conference of 3 days, 2 days, you get a week. Now. And we don't know how you even account for that. We don't even get to know who is going where because you keep that under wraps. Now, you are the same parliament that has commissioners that were giving themselves service awards. You are now just telling us of a commissioner who is not sitting but has been getting up to 6.3 billion. So the abuse of public resources that goes on in that house is amazing. Now, we need to be convinced that yes, there is value for money on taking the parliaments in the regions. The only value I can see is that parliament comes to the people because ordinarily the government of Uganda and the organ of people's sovereignty are living very far away from the people. Maybe people for the first time will get to understand this mystery they have always been trying to figure out. How does it look to be in parliament? How does parliament look like? These men, after they've become honorables and they are gathered as a parliament, how do they even speak? How does the business in parliament get to be conducted on the floor? So maybe that one the people can see. But beyond that, I think the value for money, if you look at what you're going to spend, 2.3 billion is about how many kilometers of roads? 2 to 3 kilometers of roads. So we are going to spend 2 to 3 kilometers of roads taking you to Gulu when Gulu would have benefited from those kilometers.
Okay. We're going to take a break, Father. Could you please respond to this after the break? But we also have some breaking news coming in. Quite an unfortunate development. A landfill in Chitezi, Lusanja has actually collapsed. It has buried a number of buildings, and there's scores of people who are feared dead. The police from Kasangi and fire rescue teams are responding there. That's actually in Kawempe division in Kampala. So it's quite unfortunate, really, really sad. Coming on at such a, it's just really something I can't say. But also, if you're listening in after the break, we shall be opening our phone lines. I'm sorry, we're having quite a short time today, but we're going to open our phone lines. Let me read you the numbers. You could be part of the conversation later. 0393 933 933. 0393 262 933, 0393 262 934. You could also reach us on 0393 266 933, 0701 933 934, or 0751 933 900. We'll be back after the break.
That landfill.
People's one was given.
Welcome back from the break. This is VPN. Let's just go straight into our conversation. We have a phone. We have a caller. Hello. Hello.
Yes. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank everyone with studio.
Who am I talking to?
I'm speaking to Simon.
Simon, yes, please.
Yes. Is concerned. What I'm saying is that the regional parliament is good. But now is our MPs. You're talking Ekode.
Godwell. Ekode. Yes, Ekode, please proceed.
Yes, mine's a quick. No, I've just observed one thing. All these stackers of regional MPs. We have directly appointed ministers in this region. What issues are the MPs going to discuss? Which the ministers are going to bring on the floor of parliament? If the MPs are just going to do touring to do how good looks like, then there should be a discussion. So they take the minister of tourism that Munange to take for the MPs to tour the region. Even they have the committees of parliament. When they want those regions, which issues they bring on the floor of parliament, if they want to bring those issues at the floor of parliament, then parliament has the right, then they are right to go and sit in those regions. But if they don't think the ministers, they bring those issues to the floor of parliament, then there's nothing new they are going to bring on, which they are going to discuss in those areas.
Thank you. One last caller.
Hello?
Yes, hello.
Yeah, you're speaking to Godfrey Okecha.
Who?
Okecha Godfrey.
Okecha, Godfrey.
Yes.
Yes, please, Godfrey.
Now, I'm wondering, if they fail to discuss the issue that is pressing people at the floor of the parliament, what issue are they going to discuss at the regional? Because when they go there, they are the very people who are going to discuss, not even the people that are going to this who will discuss the issue that they want. Two, you see parliament is like a family. You see with the family, when you fail to discuss the issue inside and then you start involving other people, that simply means you have failed. So they are trying to show us that the parliament has failed to discuss in the flow of parliament to bring the issue back, and yet we send them there knowing that they can discuss our issue. So,
thank you, Godfrey. I think let's open the floor for you guys to respond to this.
Well, thank you. Maybe I want to thank the different callers and their views, which are actually good. Already, if I can give an example, I've ever made a visit to the Gulu Regional Cancer Institute. I remember I talked about the cancer cases in northern Uganda, the greater north. I have made a visit there, and on the 13th of this month, actually next week, a committee on health are going to make an outreach to all the regional hospitals in northern Uganda. We'll meet with the different district health officers of the different entities, different districts, and they will actually have a position, because they will be the one, the health committee, they will be the one to actually even support the budget proposition from the Ministry of Health pertaining the different issues which will have come up. Now with the Cancer Institute, I had a meeting with the Dr. Rem, the executive director of Uganda Cancer Institute, and I said, Father, it is you who should actually bring this issue to the attention of Parliament. So now I had to make further arrangement to meet the Speaker of Parliament, and of which I believe this coming week, we are going to have a meeting again with the different ministries, Ministry of Land, Ministry of Health, Ministry of and so forth, so that we see the situation, the problems, the challenges which Uganda, Gulu Cancer Institute, Regional Cancer Institute is facing. For example, we have the issue of land. The Committee on Land, the Committee on Local Government alone may not actually work, because they will be acting in silos. We need a situation that the different ministries can be brought on board. Somebody mentioned, Okaka, somebody mentioned about the regional minister for Karamoja, minister for Northern Uganda and so forth. They don't have the mandate of the people. Actually, they're under oath. They are ceremonial ministers. They don't speak for the what?
But they can move with the elected representatives who can move with the relevant committees. Say if it's a health issue,
they don't account to Parliament. The different ministers, they account to the appointing officer, the president.
What about the committees?
So they account to the what? To the appointing person, which is the what? The committee gives their report to Parliament, and some committee reports have never been debated, by the way.
So does taking Parliament to the region then mean that this committee reports will be debated? Let me give you
an example. The late Jacob Olanyi was the deputy speaker, made an investigation and brought a report to the floor of Parliament in 2018 concerning the issue of APA. And that thing has never been debated up to now. Can you imagine the whole of the deputy speaker bringing a committee report, bringing a report to Parliament, and it is not discussed? So there are certain reports. There are so many reports lying on the what, lying, there in Parliament, which has never been debated. We need a situation that now, as we go to the greater north, what are the issues facing northern Uganda? The Karamojong wrestling, the issue of the Balalu, the issue of APA. There are so many unanswered questions. The issue of the compensation,
But you're going to sit and basically hold a sitting in one place. You're not going to interact with this community.
People are
so
talking.
how
There
are you going to
outreaches are taking place as we talk right now. There are outreaches which are taking place, and some of these reports and some of the motions will also be raised there from Gulu, debated, and a solution will also be got from Gulu. So let's first wait. Let's first wait to see the first sitting which will take place in Gulu on the 28th to the 30th. Then we shall see. It is not worth undertaking. I want to visit Masaka. I want to visit the coffee plantation. I want to visit the banana plantation. I want to go and visit the dairy farmers, so that I actually appreciate the challenges.
Is it about visiting?
Not actually visiting. I have to go because I've never been to Western Uganda. I've never gone to any.
So if you never had this opportunity for the regional city,
under that committee, it will be an incumbent now because of this the regional city that will have the opportunity.
Different parts of Uganda.
But are you Ugandan? How can you sit there and say I've never been to Masaka? I've been to your backyard.
No one is stopping you, but no one has stopped you from actually visiting this country.
So you see, some the reactions are out of prejudice.
But you see, in principle, I think, Judith, the idea of taking parliament to the people is a good one.
We have 5 minutes
because it demystifies this whole notion called parliament. Many of our people do not understand what happens there. The problem is that it is being mismanaged. It's a good idea that is being mismanaged. If you were to go there, because I even question how many people in Gulu and in the rest of northern Uganda have been mobilized that, look, parliament is coming. It's an opportunity. You are a parliament that is immune to demonstrations. Maybe we would hold placards, at least to read some things. You don't want this. You've been blocking roads in Kampala. But maybe it's a good thing. Because they've been blocking roads in Kampala. Let them go to Gulu and block the roads in Gulu so in Kampala we can work. But it's a parliament that does not understand, cannot open up to the people. It's a parliament that is not sensitive to what the people need. We see what you're doing. It does not resonate with what we need. So I think let it be. But
let me a minute. Let me still. You see, the other day when the coffee issue came on the floor of Parliament, there were quite many members of Parliament who cannot say anything about the coffee because they don't know anything pertaining what.
You can read. You can always read and get to know more about issues.
Are you not supposed to have research assistants?
That's the thing.
Honorable.
I don't own a coffee plantation, but I think I read a lot about how our coffee in the sector works and who the stakeholders in that sector are.
We need to do better. And voters, let us look out to these MPs and make the decision from what we'll be seeing up close and personal.
Thank you very much. I think let's just wrap it up, and then in the next hour we actually have our guest from the Electoral Commission.
Well, it is incumbent of the voters to hold their MPs accountable. Please, you can call your MP back, and then you ask him what are the things that you are doing. What are you doing in Parliament? What have you so far for the past 3 years? You have tabled on the floor of Parliament. There are MPs who have never spoken. There are those who have spoken once, and when you ask, if you go to the answer, what have they said on the floor? It is about what? Madam Speaker, clarification, point of order, and so forth. So that one does not help the voter. It is true. So you have the responsibility to hold your MP responsible. Now the Electoral Commission has come up with the roadmap, and now we are very busy for sure. We are very busy and looking for how to work.
That roadmap, that's when we start to wake up and say, as voters, now we are headed into the season where we have hardly 12 months to go. Can we use that now as a criteria to determine who we get to vote? Because you see, we sent you there to hold the executive accountable, you have failed. We sent you there to appropriate. The other time when we saw you were moving funds and the executive is coming back and saying, put them back. You see, we want you to go there and represent our interest, so that we can look and say, oh yes, it was worth the effort we made to line up in the scorching sun and the cast.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Henry Muguzi, Executive Director, Alliance for Finance Monitoring, and special thanks to you, Honorable Reverend Father Charles Onen, Member of Parliament, La Road, Peja Division, Gulu City. We've been discussing the good, the bad, and fears for MP's regional sittings. And before we'll take a break, but for now, just to let you know, in the next hour, we shall be discussing the demarcation of electoral areas and the reorganization of polling stations in August 2024. My guest, Barbara Mulimira from the Electoral Commission. She's a district returning officer. Kampala is already in the studio, and we look forward to hearing a lot from her. Let's take a break and then we'll be back with this session of this discussion. Welcome back from the break. We are now into the second session of our discussion, and I am pleased to invite Barbara Mulimira, who is the District Returning Officer from Kampala. Barbara is from the Electoral Commission. Good morning, Barbara.
Good morning, my dear.
Thank you for having. You have a cold?
Yes, I do.
Sorry, too bad. But we'll manage. It's just 1 hour. Yeah. So Barbara is here to actually guide us through conversations around the demarcation of the electoral areas and the reorganization of polling stations. Can we just start with when this is taking place?
Good morning, dear listeners. My name is Mulimira Barbara, as they've told you. Today I'm here to talk about the ongoing demarcation exercise and another exercise of reorganization of polling stations. This exercise began on the 6th of this month and it will end on the 16th of this month. That is Friday of next week. Yeah.
Okay. And so basically, what is it? What is, just for someone who is listening or who hasn't been paying attention to what EC is doing, what is demarcation of electoral areas? How is it being conducted? And, why are you supposed to, why are you even doing that?
Demarcation of electoral areas, it means setting electoral boundaries and drawing and defining these boundaries as areas of representation for directly elected councillors and women councillors who form a third of the local government councils, including the areas of district chairpersons as well as sub-county chairpersons. This process is crucial for ensuring fair and effective representation in local governments. Yes.
Okay. So basically, how is it then done? And why are we doing it?
We are doing it in case of a district. Every sub-county or municipal division must get a representative at the district council. In case of a city, every division must be represented at the city council, in that no division shall be subdivided for purposes of adding a part of it or another division. So here we mean that to achieve fair representation, each representative must have roughly the same number of constituents. We have also gone into demarcation due to population changes. There is need to adjust population shifts and changes identified after obtaining the National Housing and Population Census data. We are also demarcating due to compliance with the legal requirements. That is, the number of inhabitants in each electoral area should be approximately equal to the population quota. Yeah.
Okay. I am used to going to my polling station every time. I know this is my polling station. This is how is this process going to affect polling stations?
Now, for polling stations, especially in Kampala, you'll find that areas where we held elections in 2021 might not be available for us in 2026. Why? Because their owners could have set their buildings, could have made some constructions, other places could have been used to construct roads and many other social infrastructure. So the reason we are reorganizing is that we want to be sure and check out such affected areas so that we can quickly we can quickly think up solutions and prepare for the 2026 elections. By the time we get to the elections of 2026, we are sure we shall have ironed out all these inconsistencies. Yeah.
So, which other areas, polling areas are you thinking of reorganizing? Why I ask is in previous elections we've had a lot of complaints about, say, polling stations in barracks, military places, and the question of the fairness and transparency of basically the integrity of the elections that are held inside polling stations. Are you also considering some of these concerns that have been raised and how to maybe reorganize
Yes,
places
we
like
are.
that?
We are trying to reorganize those polling stations, and we put them outside those social infrastructures, in that people don't get inconvenienced. Like you'll find in 2021, we had a polling station around Pioneer Mall, and by the time we held elections, there was some construction work going on. In the meantime, they had not informed us that our polling station had been shifted, so it took us some time to be able to identify another place for polling, yet it was on the very polling day. So such inconsistencies are the ones we are praying we get rid of this time before we come to the actual polling day. Yes.
So could you just take us through the activities that you're doing within this 10-day period?
This 10-day period, we are demarcating, that is setting boundaries for representatives by our councillors, both at sub-county level, municipality level, and at district level. Yes. We have several stakeholders. Sorry, just to take you back a bit, our demarcation is done in 2 phases. Our phase 1 comprised of determining the sizes of the councils and the numbers of the electoral areas for each category of representation. And this was done at the Electoral Commission headquarters, and it has already been concluded. Phase 2 is what we are doing currently in the field. It comprises determining the actual combination or splitting of basic administrative units. Mark you, these basic administrative units are set up by Ministry of Local Government. So we use them to form our electoral areas for representation where it is required. And this is done in the field in meetings with stakeholders. We have stakeholders like district election administrators, stroke returning officers, assistant district election administrators, chief administrative officers or town clerks, district planners, sub-county chiefs, sub-county supervisors, parish chiefs, and parish supervisors. As I said before, this phase shall be conducted for 10 days, from the 6th up to the 16th of August. So we are ending it on Friday of next week.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Is there something I haven't asked that you think you'd still like to talk about?
Yeah. What are the various...
well, just before you proceed, if you're listening, I'd also still like you to know that my 2 guests, Henry and Honorable Reverend Father Charles Onen, are still around, and they're actually paying keen attention. I also have some questions for them in relation to this. Okay. So, Barbara, you can proceed.
Okay. The various forms used in the demarcation exercise, we have several forms we fill as we are demarcating, because as you know, whatever Electoral Commission does is first tabled and discussed by the Parliament and then passed as law. Which laws, I hear the land friends call them amended or something like that, but I'm not a land friend myself, so I'll not use that language. We have Form 1A, or Form A1, which involves demarcation of electoral areas by combining basic administrative units at city or district level for women councillors. The form used at that same level by splitting or merging administrative units at district level for the DEX is called A3. We have another form called B1, B2, and B3, and all these are used to either merge or split the basic administrative units at municipality level. I would like to talk about the challenges that we are encountering during our demarcation exercise. One challenge is gerrymandering, which is manipulating boundaries to favor a particular political party or group. We also have a challenge of political influence, whereby the stakeholders, especially police officers, are not letting Electoral Commission perform its work independently and letting it be free from political interference. I was arrested this week due to political interference that I was conducting an illegal meeting by the DPC Kawempe, yet I was executing my normal work. I was picked from Kawempe office as I had gone to supervise and have a consultation meeting with the mayor, and they just rounded us up just like that.
How many were you?
We were 4. We also have a challenge of technical complexity, whereby we get challenges with managing the technical aspects of mapping and data analysis. We also have a challenge of public perception, where the public have sort of gotten voter fatigue, and they have sort of reduced their trust in the fairness and transparency of the demarcation process. So you'll see that we still have a long way to go in educating the public. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Reverend Father,
Yes.
as an honorable MP, you're a direct, I mean, all of us are stakeholders, all of us, this applies to every voter, every adult of voting age, and everyone who is aspiring for to contest for an elective position. Did you know about this plan by the EC, and how it's, now that it's being rolled out, what do you think is your responsibility as an elected leader in terms of engaging citizens to actually buy in and support the EC in what it's doing, and basically responding to the issues that she has raised?
Well, the Electoral Commission informed Parliament from the Speaker, they wrote to the Speaker, giving the revised roadmap for the 2025-2026 general elections. And the Speaker immediately forwarded the same information to all members of Parliament. I, for one, I visited the Electoral Commission, the returning officer of Gulu City, and I asked him, what are you going to, and which areas are you going to demarcate or redemarcate, and so forth. And for me, I'm happy, because this has given me an opportunity to prepare well for my return in 2026. However, one thing that the general public must know, that this exercise, if we don't take it seriously, most people may not have opportunity to vote. And this is what has been happening around Kampala, where there are so many buildings and so many confusion and so forth. So it denies this kind of arrangement. The changes tend to deny most voters within Kampala. We have so many people, about 2-3 million people within Kampala who can vote. But how many do vote? You may find that only 1 million or half of the population go for voting. Simply because they have not identified, they have not found out where exactly they are supposed to go and vote. It is so unfortunate that the whole Electoral Commission staff happened to get arrested by the whole DPC of Kawempe. But you need to inform the police. Now, there's what we call the assembly, there's what law for what? For
the public order
management.
Yes.
So you need to inform the police that we are going to have this kind of setting. Let the mayor inform the what? Because the moment you invite, say, more than 100, 50 to 100, already you're attracting the police what?
That's the thing. That's why I asked how many were they. They were only 4.
So that could also be a political ploy to see that what? The people of Kawempe, because the determining votes of Kampala, it is within what? The Segerenyan's constituency there, Kawempe. So that could also be a plan by the security, by the political parties, so that the people in that area do not actually identify where they are supposed to vote, on the actual day of the voting. So most people miss that. And I think you need actually to take that as a, the Electoral Commission need not on just to stop on with the URL list. You need to take that seriously.
Yes.
And if possible, you need to inform even the Parliament on this.
No, but I'm actually glad you're here and you've had this first
You can
hand.
update update the country on what is taking place. It could be your case could be an isolated issue. You may find that other people elsewhere they're also being arrested and or being stopped, and they're not actually they have not got opportunity to speak out the way you have done it. So the DPC of Kawempe should know that what is taking place, it is a legal requirement, it's the constitutional requirement that the EC, the Electoral Commission, must give this information, must create this awareness to the general public. And the police may not be informed all the time that, yes, we are doing ABCD. This electoral roadmap, I believe the police has received this. The DPC of Kampala, the Inspector General Police, they have this whatever. They have this general information. I mean, the information which I also have.
But Barbara, my assumption is you were dressed up in something that could identify you, not so?
We were in Kawempe office.
Dressing up. What
did you have anything like a reflector?
At least my assistant had a reflector. For me, I was in my casual attire. Yes,
that could easily be identified.
And we were picked from the office. When we were consulted. No, Electoral Commission office in Kawempe, yeah.
Which is also guarded by the police.
And everyone knows this is an EC office.
Exactly.
Okay, now another thing is it not a 10 days activity to create awareness, to demarcate? Is it not too short? Only 10 days. Because other stakeholders will not be informed, especially those who are already engaged with other activities, may not have opportunity to participate in this activity. Now, for those who will have missed, like me, who have already missed the year, whatever, how are you going to let me participate into this?
Father, I guess Parliament is always the number one body, stroke stakeholder that advocates for extending our programs. If it weren't for Parliament, we would have operated our activities within our stipulated time. But every time those activities are coming to an end, Parliament always comes in and extends those days. Yes.
Henry, would you like to respond?
Yeah, of course, I have to respond. So I come from civil society. And as a citizen, I want to just first start by applauding the Electoral Commission, because the Electoral Commission of Uganda does a very an onerous job organizing elections. The challenge with organizing elections is that it is something you do once in 5 years. So because you do it once every 5 years, you're not able to practice it so regularly as well as to improve on it. And every time you bring an election, the dynamics and context has changed. Now, this body, which over time has been violated, kind of its work has been, made difficult by policy, because you remember in 2021, we complained almost repeatedly that the police was trying to hijack the independence of the Electoral Commission. Now, I want to condemn in the strongest possible terms. You see, I think the date was on August 2nd, I was remembering here, 2003, the Electoral Commission invited all stakeholders in Africa now. The police was there. They launched the 2025-2026 roadmap. Recently, I think 14 days ago, when they were starting this exercise at Africana, they invited every stakeholder, including the Inspector General of Police, and they said, in these 10 days, this is what we are going to do. It is inexcusable and unforgivable, but also despicable that the police, and knowing that this is a constitutional body mandated by the Constitution to conduct its work independently, that you go to the offices of the Electoral Commission, well branded, and you arrest officers. For me, I find this inexcusable, and we need, as citizens, we are demanding an explanation from the Inspector General of Police why this happened to the officers of the Electoral Commission that are trying to do a civic duty that is supposed to serve this country, Uganda. We have never had a peaceful transfer of power from one entity to another. We are tired of slipping back down into turmoil. We have said for so many years, let us use elections. And you are here as a citizen, because you are in uniform, you think you have a lot of power, and then you can go on and evaluate this institution. I think as citizens, we demand an explanation from the Inspector General of Police. Why did they go to the Electoral Commission offices in Kawempe and arrest officers that were doing a duty that they're constitutionally entitled to do? Having said that, I think you see now the timeliness of this exercise, because you see the laws of Uganda, different from any other laws in other countries we have been to in Africa, I think provide that voting shall be in open air spaces. I don't know why in other countries we voting takes place in buildings, but in Uganda the law says it must be open air. But over time, these open air spaces, people construct in them. So they keep shifting. And so I think the mapping of these spaces is also timely. We have just 12 months to the next election, nominations to the next election. We need to give them all the support possible, and we pray that they can identify this, but also the political parties and the other, people that are intending to contest. I don't know whether Father is contesting. I heard that Batimao is coming to
he's not a threat.
If he came, he would do. If he came, you would feel the music. Yeah, but I think it's important for us to know these polling stations, because polling stations change names. One of the processes, the activities that are happening now is that they are creating new polling stations and changing others, renaming others, splitting others. It's important that all stakeholders speak interest in this and support the Electoral Commission. It's our duty as citizens to go and vote. Those elite citizens, we are trying to look for money to now educate the elite citizens, the Judices of this world.
They don't exercise my constitutional duty.
So you look at the line in Kampala, you don't see the middle class there. The elites are not there. Yes. So we want to mobilize them, to push them out of their homes to come and vote, because it is the constitutional duty of every citizen to participate in determining the leaders to govern you.
I have interest on the issue which has been raised by this staff of EC, that she was arrested from Kawempe Electoral Commission's office. Was the Electoral Commissioner also, was he also arrested?
We were all taken.
How did you identify?
She's the returning officer.
The returning officer. How did you identify the DPC? Did you know the DPC before? Oh, because now somebody has
in their office. Father, they're in their office.
Okay.
Well-branded Electoral Commission office in Kawempe.
But the DPC, did you know the DPC before? Oh,
no.
Do they need to know them?
You are doing official duty.
Constitutional body.
In your office, well-branded. Why? What's the justification?
And even when we are taken,
Barbara, you respond, and then we take a break. Yes.
We are told to sit in the DPC's office.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how I was able to identify him.
Okay.
Yes, we sat in his office all throughout as he was having telephone calls, as he was questioning us and all the like. But it's very easy to identify someone.
So did they charge you?
We were charged with the interfering with the electoral process, and later they released us on bond.
This is sad and laughable at the same time.
Am I dreaming or I'm hearing this thing well?
You were charged with
interfering with the electoral process.
That was the statement.
Yes.
That was the charge.
It's like you can get Judith and charge her with trespassing in the KFM, the very KFM where she works. Who's the DPC? Can you
it's a political gymnastic, some kind of politics.
No, but if you're playing politics, be smart. Do it with class. Okay. Let's take a break and then let's come back and hear more from Barbara. 933 KFM. Thank you very much and welcome back from the break. This is still VPN. And in this hour, we are continuing with our conversations about the demarcation of electoral areas and the reorganization of polling stations this month. It's a 10-day exercise and started on the 6th of August and winds up on the 16th of August. And Henry had actually asked Barbara earlier, is this enough time? And we've also learned, Barbara, I'd like you to paint for us a picture of the budgetary issues or constraints that the EC is having that could or is hampering some of its activities, because we're in a crucial time for this country as we're heading to 2026 elections. There's a lot of planning that has to take place, and the EC is the primary vehicle for us to actually have this issues addressed.
Thank you. One of the budgetary constraints that we have is scrapping of certain activities in the roadmap. For example, the regional workshops were scrapped off the budget in an effort to economize on the Electoral Commission spending. You'll find that if the police at district level had been invited to these regional workshops, maybe they would have been informed and they would have acted contrary to how they acted this time. Otherwise, I don't believe uninformed, if he had attended the regional workshop, I don't believe he would have acted in that manner. So, if the regional workshops would be financed, if the EC would be financed with the funds for conducting the regional workshops, maybe our stakeholders at district level and other lower levels would also come aboard and be in the know.
May I know how much EC had actually wanted for this, requested for this?
I can't tell it offhand.
Okay, yeah. Okay. What other activities have been affected by these budgetary cuts, apart from the regional workshops, the ones that you think are crucial?
Even some trainings of some level of some high level officers, and even the
high level
the voter education.
Officers?
No, other stakeholders.
Okay.
And some voter education activities are going to be hampered because of budgetary cuts. Yeah.
Okay. Honorable Reverend Father, I don't know how you could help us here.
Yeah, well, it is quite unfortunate that the technical people within the Ministry of Finance misguided the president. They misguided the president to alter the budget, because normally for a budget to be realigned, there must be justifiable reasons. One, if there are duplications in the budget, in case certain sector happen not to absorb certain fundings or fundings in the funding of the previous in the previous budget, that is where you see there can be realigning of the budget or altering of the budget paper. But in this case, the president was misguided, and actually they misguided the president to consider private sectors more than the actual issues which should have been given priority, like the Electoral Commission one. Given the fact that now this is the only opportunity, this is the only last kind of moment for the Electoral Commission to prepare the nation on the general elections. Now imagine that the stakeholders meeting or whatever, it is not going to take place. Where will the police get the correct information? Where will the ESO and the DISO and the security operatives and other stakeholders and the civil society, where will they get the information, the correct information to sensitize or to participate in the sensitization of the voters? So all this, I think Parliament need to go back. Parliament need to sit and then make immediate reallocation of money during the supplementary budget. And it is now incumbent of the Electoral Commission, first of all, to write to Parliament, to the Speaker of Parliament, so that the committee on legal affairs can now table this in the supplementary budget, without which it will be difficult. So stop lamenting. just go right to the Speaker, right to Parliament. These are the issues which we have started facing on the first day of our implementation of the roadmap. And I believe this will be treated as an urgent issue by Parliament.
My producer Stephen has just shared with me some of the figures actually from the EC. I think EC had raised a request for 1.119 trillion shillings to prepare for the 2026 elections, but then some MPs, the secretary to the EC actually protested an allocation of 150.283 billion shillings. So it leaves EC with a shortfall of 969.282 billion. That's quite a huge sum. It is quite a huge sum. You were still talking?
Yeah, no, I've already concluded.
Barbara,
yes,
let's hear from you.
Next is I wanted to talk about the reorganization of polling stations.
Can I talk about it?
Yes.
Because you see, money is the thing I work on every day. And so, dear Ugandans, you see, democracy has never been cheap. The alternative to democracy is war. Democracy is where you change leadership peacefully. The alternative is what we went through for the first 20 years of Uganda's independence.
Which is very, very costly and ugly.
We don't want to go back there. Countries where democracy has taken root, they have to spend, because democracy is not cheap.
But the return on investment is equally
that
good.
participate in it. Stakeholders are candidates, they must spend on campaigns. Political parties, they must spend on preparing candidates and so on. But the government has to use those public funds we give it in taxes to spend on the electoral management body. The electoral management body by its nature does so many activities because elections are an emotive activity. Elections have stakeholders that have to be prepared. Those regional workshops were very important. You see, these men and women in uniform, the police, for example, who are feigning ignorance, they are not switched on to understand what is going on. In fact, I'm even questioning if you cannot understand that the Electoral Commission is now doing redemarcation, would you be able to detect the criminals? Because because everybody knows this. It was in the press. The workshop was invited. You don't know you are the DPC. And now we expect you to chase criminals. But that said, countries invest a lot. Now, in a country like Uganda where democracy is very young, we have to invest a lot in preparing the stakeholders, preparing the citizens.
The mindset.
Through civic education, through these stakeholder engagement, meetings and workshops. Now, the Electoral Commission presents a budget of 1.1 trillion for an activity that happens once in 5 years. And none of the people in responsible offices, in the Ministry of Finance, in Parliament, is able to understand that this is a sacrosanct area. You cannot touch it. Because you see, what is the opposite? So now, we did not have the workshops. We have seen for free in Kawempe. The DPC is feigning ignorance. There was no workshop in Kawempe to prepare the DSOs, the police, the ISO, the military there. That you see this exercise is going. What are we going to expect come campaigns when the heat has heated up? It's through these workshops that they are told which law reigns supreme when it comes to elections. You the police officer, you have the Penal Code Act. But the Electoral Commission has the Electoral Commission Act and many other electoral laws. So which law reigns supreme? It's in those workshops that you get to reconcile these things. You did not find them. You people in Parliament, Father, you were there in Parliament. What issue did you put up? Justify why the people of what's the constituency? What's the constituency?
Laropeje.
Okay. Justify now why we should bring you back. Because at the time you were supposed to defend the Electoral Commission, because this exercise is very important, you kept quiet. Lastly, okay. No, you can speak.
So before Father speaks, Henry, There's a paragraph here from what Stephen sent me that some lawmakers were skeptical about the planned expenditure on the roadmap implementation processes, pointing out likely wasteful and inflated figures.
So those figures they called inflated. You see, we are working in a context where the shilling is depreciating at a fast rate. The things you would buy with 10,000 2 years ago are not the ones you can fetch now. So the shilling is degenerating. You see, you look at the budgets. When it comes to going to do now, when it comes to going for these regional sittings you're going for,
okay,
how much are you going to spend? Close to 10 billion. That one is okay, you MPs. But you cannot understand that 10 billion, the Electoral Commission would have done a lot in sensitizing and preparing the men and women in uniform who have often captured the space of the Electoral Commission. They are determining who gets to campaign where. They take over. So you have to prepare them because you cannot fight them. You don't have guns. The Electoral Commission has to now sensitize them, educate them. How are they going to do this? Are they going to get on the phones and call individuals? You don't do this by phone calls. You bring them in a workshop and educate them.
Okay.
So I think it was important that this would have been fun.
We are
demanding that now you go back further. You go back now in Parliament and cause a supplementary budget to fund the Electoral Commission with the monies they needed, so that we can have a good election.
I support that idea of the supplementary budget being raised to consider. And the Electoral Commission. You see, with what is happening now, it is clearly showing that the general elections in 2026, it is not going to be free and fair. If the staff of EC is being arrested with the police, it could be also a plan to show that there will be furthermore arrest.
You also need to pay them better, to motivate them better. How much do they earn as salary?
They earn a lot.
How much do they earn as salary?
I'm not sure.
Are you well motivated? Are you well motivated, Barbara? No.
Okay.
You also look into those things.
No, nobody will actually.
Let father talk, and then we come to
members of Parliament that are not well motivated.
See, the smile of a man who is not well motivated.
Please, Barbara, we are going to consider that. But Museveni being the chief finance officer, is the one who normally directs things to be done. Much as Parliament has got power, but the Minister of Finance and the technical people within the Minister of Finance, they act within the drumbeat of Museveni. And that's why they were the one who, again, upon accepting that this was the best budget, even the president, upon acknowledging that this was the best the budget so far in his reign as the president, again, after 2 days, he writes back that you people, what is happening? Actually, he accepted the budget when it was read at Kololo. But after 2 days, again, he wrote to the speaker, I don't understand what you people are doing in Parliament. You people, you are corrupt. And then BCD, what is it? It is Musevenomics. So the way you operate, and I believe it was deliberate for the Electoral Commission not to be considered, because he is aware that when enough civic education is done, so many people are going to get informed and they will decide correctly. He wants people to get misinformed so that on the actual day they will be blamed that you people did not do the correct thing. So to me, the general election of 2026, it is not going to be free and fair, and you need to also admit it.
Barbara, let's bias the voters.
Don't bias them.
Gentlemen, let's give the lady.
So what are you trying to do to make it not free and fair?
Guys, let's give Barbara the mic.
Thank you. I was still talking about reorganization of polling stations.
Yes.
And here we're carrying out this activity in order to ensure that each parish and electoral area at sub-county level has got at least one polling station in accordance with the Electoral Commission Act. We are also conducting reorganization to ensure that polling stations that have less than the approved minimum number of voters are merged, taking into consideration the proximity of the villages, geographical features, and distances traveled by voters to the polling stations. In this reorganization, we are also trying to split polling stations with significantly more than the optimum number of voters. That is 900, more than 900 people. But for Kampala and Wachiso district, our minimum number shall be 1,200. Why? Because of our constraints of getting polling stations in Kampala and Wakiso spaces. We are also trying to reorganize polling stations in order to merge, rationalize by village the polling stations which had earlier been split on the basis of the alphabet. If these polling stations have the numbers or alphabet to be split on the basis of villages, if it's practical, then we shall reallocate these polling stations in consultation with the residents of the polling stations that are located in these respective polling stations. And we shall also first have to seek for their permission, or they'll have to tell us whether it is inconvenient for the polling stations, for the population, to cast their votes due to voters traveling long distances. Also, where developments have taken place, like the Pioneer Mall incident, which happened on the polling day of 2021 general elections. We also have to rename these polling stations. For example, my Kampala polling stations, some of them are named under the mango tree, behind the Haji Musa's shop. So in case we had the behind Haji Musa's shop in 2021, and we have now shifted that polling station to under the mango tree, we have to rename it. We have to rename it.
Say that again.
Renaming. We name polling stations according to their physical locations. In case a polling station in 2021 was called behind Haji Musa's shop, and since then Haji Musa has constructed a very big arcade or shopping mall. When we shift this polling station and we put it under the mango tree, we shall have to change this name from behind Haji Musa's shop and name it under the mango tree.
What if the mango tree is cut a week before?
A week before. Still we shall have gazetted this name, and people will know we have GPS coordinates that we use for these polling stations. So people use the GPS reader and be able to locate these polling stations. Yes.
Do voters also have the access to GPS and the rest?
Many of these modern phones, modern smartphones have GPS readers.
Okay.
Yes. So we need to harmonize the parish and village names with our corresponding polling stations. This is what I've been talking about. And then also ensure that all the newly created villages appear on the voters' register by populating them with the respective voters. How are these new villages created? They are created by the Ministry of Local Government. So they just forward that list of the newly created villages to the Electoral Commission, and then we do the needful by placing these villages in their respective parishes. Then we arrange we arrange our elections according to those administrative units. That's what I had to say.
Okay, so there's a question that has come through here. In 2020, the reorganization was done. When it was done, each councillor in Kampala was supposed to represent 700 people. Now you're putting it to 1,200 because of the current figures by the UBOS after the housing and population census. The numbers have gone up. There are concerns that you're going to merge these parishes to be represented by one councillor, yet previously a parish would have two councillors.
Yeah.
So how
did this come about?
Yes, could you just give some clarity?
This came about due to the population changes, that is population increase. And before the population increase, the Honorable agree with me that due to the current financial constraints, we really needed to reduce on the number of electoral areas. That's why they sat down in Parliament and tabled that bill and discussed it, and then they later passed it. Electoral Commission can never carry out an activity minus consent of the Parliament.
You are
because they are
on
our main guardians.
Areas,
yes,
and creating more, constituencies. Because I read the Electoral Commission, it has been announced that 5 more constituencies are going to 5 more cities are going to be operational before 2026, which means there will be 2 and other more voting.
Also, Barbara, before
Honorable, that will only come if you approve it. But even in 2021, we had approved cities whose elections were never implemented because of the insufficient funding. So likewise, they might be implemented this time, but due to lack of funding, you might find their elections being held in 2031.
But the speaker said, the Prime Minister said by the 1st of January next year, those 5 cities are going to what?
So,
then if you give us the funds,
there's a
we shall conduct those elections.
For Kampala, if one councillor could reach the 700 people, how about now with more than 1,200? That's almost double the number that we're reaching. In terms of service delivery, the numbers versus service delivery and representation, it does not seem to add up well.
That's a question to be answered by the parliamentarians who amended the law, not the Electoral Commission.
You're simply implementing what they
Yes, we are simply implementing what they have.
But you see, there's what we call the NRM interest versus the parliamentary what? Parliamentary interest. Just like there is good intentions or right intentions versus what? Intimidation by the police.
So we're running out of time, so I'm giving you one minute each. Reverend Father, 1 minute, then Henry, then we come to Barbara.
Well, I want to thank you for hosting us. I want to thank Barbara for expounding on the activities and the challenges you people are facing. It is incumbent now, Parliament, to take up from where, especially on the issue on the budget cut. And I think this time round, the NRM interest must not, override the parliamentary interest. The issue pertaining your budget, whether it is going to be, misused or abused, but for the purpose of organizing a free and fair election, these money have to be given. I want to inform the nation that, you see, the Parliament in the last financial year, it budgeted for so much, for so many entities. Like, for example, the local government wanted about 16 billion. The 16 billion was to put offices for 139 sub-counties. There are about 139 sub-counties without houses. Those parish chiefs, they're actually working under trees or sharing, some some structure somewhere. And Parliament decided, the President decided, no, it is not necessary. This is unnecessary budgeting. So I want to thank Andrew for Henry for joining us in this program, and I pray next time we shall come and continue.
I'm with you in your constituency. Exactly. Colleagues, fellow citizens, the successful conduct of the 2026 general elections is not contingent and dependent only on the Electoral Commission. All the stakeholders have a role to play, most especially the police and the security operatives. I just want to put out this cry loud and clearly, but also the leaders who are misleading citizens should stop. The political party leaders must also do their work and ask the citizens, those of us that think we are so educated and so elite not to line up and vote, let us go and renew our names.
Thank you, Henry. Barbara.
My dear listeners, my dear voters, I'm calling upon you to be vigilant, especially in the reorganization of polling stations. Please, when your local council one chairperson calls upon you to go and attend that meeting, which will affect the location of your polling station, kindly adhere. Kindly go and attend those meetings. I greet you all and I wish you a fabulous weekend.
Thank you. Thank you very much to all of you. Barbara Mulimira, Electoral Commission District Returning Officer for Kampala. Thank you very much. Thank you, Reverend Father Charles Onen from Gulu City, Laro, Peche Division. Henry Muguze, Alliance for Action for Campaign Finance Monitoring. Thank you very much for your views and for sparing time to be with us. This is VPN. My name is Judith Atim. We'll be back next Saturday, same time to join us then. For now, have yourselves a wonderful weekend.